You know those words you probably say all the time? Things like, I'm busy, or I'm tired. We all do it. But today, we're going to level up those simple phrases. Because using more expressive language isn't just about sounding more like a native speaker. It's about really connecting with people and getting your point across, especially at work. So, let's dive in. So let me ask you this. Do you ever feel like you're using all the right words, but they just fall a little flat? Like they don't have the real energy of what you're trying to say? Trust me, you are not alone. It is so easy to fall into the habit of using those simple textbook phrases that are correct, yeah? But they just don't have any punch. And these two are the perfect examples. I mean, they're totally correct. There's nothing grammatically wrong with them. But do they really truly capture that feeling of being completely buried in work? Or that feeling of being so drained you can barely think straight? Nah, I think we can do a whole lot better. All right, so let's start with the first one. Instead of just defaulting to I'm busy, let's check out a couple of much more powerful ways to talk about a crazy schedule. Okay, here is a fantastic one. I'm swamped. You're going to hear this idiom all the time, everywhere from the office to just hanging out with friends. And it means exactly what it sounds like. You are just absolutely buried, totally overwhelmed with stuff to do. The power of this phrase really comes from that mental picture it creates, doesn't it? When you say you're swamped, it's like you're imagining being stuck in a thick, dense swamp made of emails and deadlines, and you just can't move. It's that feeling of being completely bogged down that makes it so effective. So, when would you actually use this? Well, it is perfect for work. Imagine a coworker asks you to help with a new project. Saying something like, oh, I'd love to help, but I'm completely swamped right now, is such a clear and professional way to say you have zero bandwidth. It sets a boundary, but, in a polite way. Okay, here's another really great professional one. I've got a lot on my plate. This also means your schedule is packed to the brim and you're juggling as many responsibilities as you possibly can. The metaphor here is just so simple and clear, right? Just picture a dinner plate that is piled high with food. What happens if you try to add one more thing? Well, something's going to fall off. That's exactly what your to-do list is like in this situation. It's that plate and it is completely full. Now, this phrase is maybe a little less intense than swamped. While swamped can feel like you're drowning, I've got a lot on my plate just communicates that you're at full capacity. It's a fantastic professional tool for managing expectations because it shows you're organized and you know your limits. Okay, let's switch gears and tackle our second common phrase. We're moving on from I am very tired to explore some much more powerful ways to talk about being completely wiped out. The easiest upgrade here is to just use a stronger word. Instead of tacking very onto tired, just say, I'm exhausted. It's one single word, but it carries so much more weight. And there really is a key difference. Being tired might just mean you need a good night's sleep, but being exhausted, that suggests a much deeper level of fatigue, both physically and mentally. It's that feeling after a really tough week or a huge project. It means you are just completely and utterly drained of energy. All right, now for a really vivid one that I just love. I'm running on fumes. This is such a great expression because it perfectly captures that very specific feeling. You know, the one where you have basically zero energy left, but somehow you're still going. The metaphor here is just brilliant. Think about it. You're driving your car, the gas light is blinking, and that needle is way past E. The engine is literally running on the last vapors, the fumes in the tank, before it just sputters and dies. That's the feeling. That's exactly it. So you'd pull this one out on a Friday afternoon after a crazy week, or maybe late at night when you're pushing to finish a big project. You're still working, yeah, but only because you absolutely have to. It clearly tells people you are operating on your absolute last drop of energy. So let's put this all together. You've now got 4 awesome new phrases to add to what we'll call your expressive toolkit. These will instantly help your English sound more dynamic, more natural, and way more precise. I mean, just look at this side by side. On the left, you've got the basic, functional phrases. But on the right, you have language that actually paints a picture and communicates a real feeling. I'm swamped. I've got a lot on my plate. I'm exhausted. I'm running on fumes. Every single one of those has a special nuance that very busy or very tired just can't touch. Now, of course, learning these phrases is one thing, but the really important part is putting them into practice. And that brings us to our final challenge for today. So here it is, my challenge to you. Just think about the week you have coming up. When do you think you're going to be busy? When might you feel totally wiped out? Pick just one of these new phrases and make a plan to actually use it in a real conversation. That's how you go from just knowing the language to really owning it. Thanks so much for joining me.